Salutations viewers, my name is Game Dame and welcome back to my Legends of Runeterra patch notes review video. We are currently on patch 0.9.4. Well, we're really on patch 1 right now. So this was the last patch before open beta closed, and now we're like actually on the real game. So in this description, here's the overall branching view of what these patch notes are about, and it features patch 0.9.4 features the final card updates of open beta, including buffs to Draven, Katarina, and Yasuo, plus tweaks to expeditions, archetypes, and some user interface improvements. So in the dev notes, I'm going to read the dev notes for you guys for card changes in 0.9.4. Hey everyone, we talked about the beginning of open beta, about how we look at the balance over the course of sets, including how we plan to approach our final card updates before the introduction of a new set. For this last batch of changes before launch, we focus on tying up loose ends with some clarity improvements, fairly minor nerfs, and a few champion adjustments. We expect champion health to be particularly important for us with set transitions. We want players to be excited to try out the new, but also for existing champions to remain compelling options. We feel pretty good about where we're at, but have a few changes aimed at increasing viability. In particular, while we're happy with where Noxus is as a region in terms of overall card usage, Noxian champions in general are somewhat underrepresented, so we've got adjustments to Draven and Katarina. I 100% agree. I don't see Noxus decks that much, but I mean they definitely have been coming up a little bit more often. Additionally, we've got a group of changes aimed at increasing clarity and generally helping cards act in more intuitive ways for both players. These changes will have some small level of impact on power level, but we separated them into a different section below to make it clear what we're trying to accomplish. Thanks so much for all your feedback during beta and can't wait to see it launch. Nice. Thank you. Oh, they did more tuning for expeditions. So a lot of them, they've been tweaking them from my last patch note videos. They made expedition tokens a lot more available to people, especially who are just mainly like free to play in general. But like you can, if you play consistently, you're able to get more rewards and you're able to play more expeditions, which I love because it helps you teach how to build decks. And that's why I love expeditions so much. So I'm just going to go over the bonus, the cohesiveness, and the wild pick bonus chance. So I'm just going to read these paragraphs for you guys. Every combination of one or two regions has its own primary archetype, but we've also had the capacity to support additional archetypes that are a bit more off the beaten path. So currently there are Fluffed and Tough and Cataclysm, but we're adding in with this patch Crimson. Ooh, Crimson Guard. Okay. The main thing to note is that these bonus archetypes only show up half as often as the primary archetypes during the initial champion picks. Okay. I would definitely take a look at that when I go to play my next expedition. So cohesiveness, some archetypes are only generically useful cards, while others like Shadows and Dust consists of mostly cards that are more dependent on one another. That's true. So cohesiveness rating is tuning value that allows us to control how quickly a particular archetype will be disallowed from showing up in wild packs when your deck doesn't include any cards from that archetype, since you'd be highly likely to be interested in it. Okay, so okay, that makes more sense as to rereading it again. So they're allowing us to control how to quickly like take an archetype and will be disallowed from showing up in wild packs when your deck doesn't include any. So I think that this is what I'm understanding, is that if it doesn't show up in your, if it's not showing up with what kind of synergy you're trying to go with, I don't think that card will show up at all. I think that's what it's saying here, but leave a comment down below to see if I am not getting that correctly, because I'm not exactly too sure, but that's my thinking, is that if you already have a certain way you're building the deck, I don't think it's going to include anything else from those other type of things, but maybe something similar that you can build your deck a little bit more upon. So the wild pick bonus chance, it's another tuning value that allows you to increase the frequency with which you'll see an archetype during your wild picks. But only during drafts that it's your okay, so it's only so it'll increase the chance of your main archetype that you're picking for your expedition, but it's going to be your primary one, the one that you choose first. So that makes the most sense. That makes sense. So that it ends up being more synergistic. I like that. To move on, here are some card updates. So this is what they've done to Draven. So in his Draven now levels up when striking with 2 axes at the same time. Oh wow, when I've struck twice with the spinning axe, I've struck with 2 total spinning axe. Okay, so they mainly did this because play rate and status were lower than they'd like. It was lower than we'd like for his play and satisfaction. I mean, he is, whenever I do play against a Noxus deck, he is always in there, and it's incredibly frustrating to play against him sometimes. And Katarina. So what did they do to Katarina? Her old text was, level up, I've struck once, when I level up, recall me. So her new text is, play, create a fleeting blade's edge in hands. Level up, I've struck once, when I level up, recall me. That, I think, is a lot better. Every time I went against a Katarina, I could never kill her unless I had like a direct spell, or unless like I had something strong enough to kill her, because she would just always be recalled. I actually really like this change in Katarina. I mean, it gives you more of an option if you want to. I mean, they have a fleeting blade's edge, so it gives you more of an option to who you want to fleet back or something. It's not just Katarina, but I still think this is a good change for her. I mean, she's an annoying ass card, but it'll definitely make people a little bit more wary of how to use her. So what they changed about Yasuo's stuff? Yasuo hasn't quite had the durability needed to be fully utilized in his build-arounds. So his stat line made it difficult to confidently use him in battle. Oh, so they changed his health. So they made him from a 4-3 to a 4-4. And then when he levels up, he's 5-5. Wow, okay, we're gonna see a lot more Yasuo's, and not only is he just annoying as hell in like the original game, but now he's gonna even be more annoying in Legends of Runeterra, as he should be. I mean, it's Yasuo. Kalista, I've been seeing a lot more Kalista decks lately, and it's mainly because of this change that they implemented with her. Is yeah, they've explained it perfectly. That Kalista's play rate has skyrocketed, and it's really, really good now. She used to be hot garbage, but now she's like a must-have in most of the decks that are including Shadow Isles. Followers and spells, so they've nerfed Laurent's Duelist. No, they didn't nerf him. They buffed him. So instead of making him a 3-2, he is now a 4-2. I think that's fine. I don't see, I mean, it's definitely going to make I love the Laurent's family, or the Laurent cards. I think they're actually kind of hilarious. But I think this definitely makes him more viable as a champ, because I didn't see him as much beforehand. He was good, but he was okay, but he wasn't good. That's what I meant to say. So now he's good, now that he has more fighting potential. 3 mana 4-2 is not bad. That gives an ally challenger. It's not him that has challenger. Vanguard Bannerman. Old text, allegiance grant all allies +1/+1. Allegiance grant other allies +1/+1. Bannerman is a key offender. Okay, so I'm assuming it's not all it's not all the allies now, but it's other allies that are currently on the board. So that definitely makes them. Yeah, I know Demacia decks are very. Once they get ahead, they're ahead, and it's very hard to come back from it unless you have like some tricky thing up your sleeve. So this is something I don't know. I haven't seen this one. So Blood for Blood has been ineffective in Battle Scars decks, and a cost reduction should help it move into more usable state. So 2 mana. I've never seen Blood for Blood, maybe because I haven't played the Battle Scars deck, but it says deal 1 to an allied follower. If it survives, create a copy of it in hand. I think we'll probably see more Blood for Blood, especially with the cost reduction, and it's a fast spell. So that's definitely helpful for Noxus decks. Kato the Arm. So they just took his health. They buffed his health. I have started to see more of him because he is a little bit more viable. So he gives his supported ally +3/+0 and Overwhelm. But now he won't be killed off as easily since he was a 5 mana 5/3. This definitely makes it a lot more aggressive because aggro decks in general are always risky. To try, especially when you're just banking everything on like maybe some single large units. But I think this will definitely be helpful for Noxus decks in overall. Avarose and Trapper, so they made him a 3 mana 3/3. He was still a decent card to begin with, especially if he summoned and creates an Enraged Yeti. I mean, this just gives him more early mid game presence, to be quite honest, and it makes him that much more of a threat. So it looks like Starlit Seer also got a buff in his health. So that makes Freljord, yeah, that makes the Freljord decks a bit nicer when it comes to Yeti's buffs and ramp decks. That's pretty good for Freljord, that they're like buffing this certain area. See, I used Warding Stones a lot to begin with. And the extra mana is great, but I always was able to kill it or have mine be killed. So I don't know. I don't use Warding Stones or Wording Stones that much. So let me read the description here. Ramp is an integral part of Freljord's identity. We've kept a close eye on available options. Currently reserving most big Freljord decks forgo ramp completely, or playing only Catalyst of Aeons. Okay, so I see what they're doing here. They want to make ramping a little bit more prevalent in the Freljord decks. Well, we're just going to have to see if more people are actually going to be putting Warding Stones into their decks now. I didn't see this this card only because I don't play a lot of Zaun decks, but I know Zaun has a huge presence now, especially with their recent updates. His stat line made it too easy to disrupt with damage-based removal in response to impersonate. So Shady stat line made it to disrupts with damage-based removal. Oh, I see. Okay, so I mean, I don't know too much about Zaun, but I mean, it definitely. Okay, so this shady character it looks like it's a good card, but like I don't know. I'm gonna have to. I don't know too much about it, or I mean, it says exactly what it does, but I just don't play with it enough. So I will definitely be playing more Zaun decks now that I'm seeing. And they've nerfed the Frenzy Skitterer. I mean, spider decks in general have always been strong, no matter what you. I mean, unless you had like unless it's like a complete like mirror matchup, then it becomes a little tricky. Unless like you also have more control-y. But I've always liked spider decks. But it's definitely good that they've like nerfed it just a bit. And they've had Ezra and Karma on the watch list. Oh, more stuff. So I'm guessing, yeah, these are more cards. Bright Steel Formation. They got rid of base player attack if all allies barrier. So still gives itself an all allies barrier to play. Base barrier was redundant in most cases for Bright Steel Formation. While you can apply more than one barrier in LOR, they actually didn't stack. Okay, so this was a wording issue. Yeah, that's definitely confusing. I like how they changed that. So they changed Swift Wing Lancer. Create an elite in hand. So this was just, it looks like create an elite in hands, create a random elite in hands. Another wording example. So Trifarian Assessor. Draw one for each 5+ power ally you have. When I'm summoned, draw one for. So a lot of these are just telling you, changing old text to the new text. But it looks like Shark Chariot got a. Well, I mean. Yeah, I mean, that makes more sense. With Shark Chariot, old text, when an ephemeral ally attacks and I'm dead, return me to play attacking. Last breath, the next time an ephemeral ally attacks, revive me attacking. Change much needed cleanup of Shark Chariot's functionality that leaves it nearly identical play patterns previously. It was the only card that would return to play after being dead. Now it revives, meaning it will instead make a copy of itself. Whoa, that's actually... So, we're going to see a lot more Shark Chariots. Purify will work effectively on the Chariot by removing Last Breath effects. I think that's good that they made it Last Breath. We are probably going to see more of it, but like it will be called out a lot more. But I don't see Purifies all that often. I think that's something that should probably put in is more Purifies or more ways to silence enemies, especially when you're going against what is it? Why can't I think of it at the moment? The sneaky decks, the one where you can only... Why can't I think of the term right now? I can't think of the term. What is that? What is that name? You know the ones I'm talking about. It's the one with like the purple smoke around it, and you can only attack it like with another same card that's like of it. I'm gonna forget. I forget the term right now. It's like on the tip of my tongue. But you guys know what I'm talking about. But the rest of them looks like it talks about expeditions and about adding and removing certain things compared to other certain cards. And then there's miscellaneous updates, known issues, and bug fixes. If you guys want to read a more in-depth version, I went over the cards as promised, as always, and just the biggest changes that are in 0.9.4. But I know there are changes I did not exactly go over. But if you would like to read more about it, I will include the link of these patch notes in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a fabulous day, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.